chödong tsoji chonam chanju bado dani gyabson je lage jinson jebe sonam je dola benje sanje doba isho sanje tsoji chonam la chanju bado dani gyabson je lage jinson jebe sonam je dola benje sanje doba isho sanje chedan soge chana chanjo bardo dani jason je dage chen soge sonam je dola benje sanje doba. From now until enlightenment, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, and by the merit created in this practice, may I attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. From now until enlightenment, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, and by the merit created in this practice, may I attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. From now until enlightenment, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, and by the merit created in this practice, may I attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings.
관계 도중에 동화 다와 던제 반배체에 담배전에 던제 고담대라 저저 야다 로번 다와다 봐 간세랑 완전히 되네 갈텐디는 이제 미잖아 양설롱 영원 주기 못되네 지나 끊기롱을 그 소나 이제 당 알아서 즉 원에 미 레바단 된데 미 남시시 렘베 카트라 랭인 제기 다 라마나 마산 차상지 요레스 딘데 랭인 제 라마 요베 카트라 아니 즉 뭐니 동거치 부다치비 디키 기사와지 또 머투비나 레다 녀모고 왕기 만동한 송기 야자라 롱 아니페 만송기 동알 녀나 따냐베 동알 타위나 할레베 주진보 동알이야 작보 딘데 갑라 아니페 주제 고압세데 라야 코라요 말에 아니 델 직마 롱사르소나 아니 양케로 저와갸데 저 동바르지로 마도 엔디오 말 딘디 니가라 단다에 베 고갑데 단진적으로 세가되는 거레스
Chandrakriti, in his text, he mentioned that there's a verse in which he begins with saying, while we are having this complete freedom and engaging in this kind of freedom, and if you don't use this freedom well, then later after kind of falling in the lower rebirth, it's kind of too late. So what he is saying here is, as he mentioned in this, citation, that while when we have this human intelligence, while we are, having this human brain, and having this, ability to differentiate and discriminate what is good and bad, basically, for us. When we have this complete freedom, then we should be thinking about planting the seed of, happiness in the long term, long-term objective. And otherwise, once if we have fallen in the lower realm out of negative karmic action and afflictions, then as suffering of lower rebirths, by that time it will be sort of too late, and it's kind of hopeless, especially when thinking about the suffering of animal or hell realms being intense suffering in terms of timing too long. So therefore, the point he is advising us is we should be using this opportunity, at our best.
Wata tindi dukala chumdendege rawan thamche dewa jawan thamche dungal inzar sungre. Wata dewa da dungal sikiti zo chik pagi kandesi yenche hware sidikala dewa sikindi jawa de cheni susu lisimla sorwa dewa njengi yana 다 된다바데 이게지게 답아 대화래 다 자와지 제니 아니 무슨 기술이니 동알 진정이였나 디다 동알지 도시거래 지든데 인디가라 라원 탐제 대화 인시야데 땅원이 좀 된데 숨어야 돼요 말아서 레등 녀몽 비정왕도 요래 단다 녀몽 비정왕도 요래 녀몽 비정왕도 요래 녀몽 비정왕도 지삽 이어야 되기디 아니 디왕기 아니 미드웨레 직 단다 사보만은 직 마오바나 사다스 상기르기 레미드와 캉디 온데게 와다 직 레기 진주 마서데 레미드와 직 무투디 온데게 텐디 인디가라 레등 녀몽 비정왕도 요래 레등 다 된다왜 녀몽당 미드웨 레기 정왕도 지시 요아들 둥알지 조탐매바지 지 애니베 마자고나지 애니 단당 알아서 지 대왕 문진지 대양 둥알 가림지 대왕 원바자마도 녀메기 대와지 땐 자완이니요 말아 고르나라 어쨌든이 인가라 땐 딘다왜 녀메지 대와지 구 대와지 구 예나 르가 있음데 애니베 지 자와데 개와 애니 자와데 상비 있는지 젬팽기 라 애니베 골드주와이나 애니 지 칼레 애니 녀메기 대와 상기기 고방 세야데 애니 도스진이 뚝투여져래 데 애니 라왕 데 갑텔라데 제니 라왕 라바레세 송고아레 소다 도스지디가라 지 라왕다데 왕 세야데 직원에 가라서 와 차바지네 아니 때라 가서 툭툭지 주민이 요 맞게 버도 삼당어도 깨쳐버려 있어
Buddha Shakyamuni himself has said that all freedom are happiness, and all under the power, or all not freedom, non-freedoms are suffering. And how can we differentiate between freedom and non-freedom, or the happiness and suffering, in terms of the nature of the action here? So we can generally differentiate by saying that whatever activity directly or indirectly created through our physical, verbal, and mental, and when that ends up in bringing happiness, we categorize those as a positive activity, and whatever activities that we created when ends up in bringing a suffering, we consider those as negative activities. And at this moment, being in cyclic existence, when we are under the power of karmic action, karmic action and affliction or defilements, by that very kind of definition, we are blind, or we are under the power of creating negative activities. Not only we are creating at this moment, but at the same time, because of that power, karmic action and afflictions, as long as we are under these two, we are going to create negative activities in the future too. So so the another way of saying is that as long as we are under the power of karmic action and afflictions, we are bound to suffer. They will be suffering all the time. But however, we do kind of consider, enjoying a sense of pleasure, happiness, and when we say that, what we are kind of our identification of identifying those happiness or joy or pleasurable experiences are merely a cessation of suffering. It's not genuine, happiness, and but then how can we attain that genuine happiness, true happiness? And that happiness, as we mentioned before, once we engage fully in positive activities, physically, verbally, mentally, then we will be enjoying that kind of genuine happiness. The another way of saying is that that will be the state of enlightenment, where we can truly enjoy a complete freedom of ourselves. So here it is important to kind of understand and have a proper understanding of what we mean by when we say freedom. So here it is also important to kind of doing our best to engage, even just maybe kind of at this moment it won't be kind of genuine, but kind of artificial, kind of experience, and maybe that can lead to eventually attaining a genuine experience of complete freedom and happiness.
다 된다왜 뉴메기 대화 두발라 누가 가린기 가서 대화 온바자 많이 봐 뉴메기 대화 두야 탑람데 즉 남바상게 비타 식트가 유디 셴나 람 탑식이 세야 되다 오늘 다 뉴메기 대화 두고 탑람 쪼데 따데리 동니도베 따와당 any chanchuki sem seade tigi sa lungal tugegi lungal gaje any dewa nyumegi dewa tugegi tamno zoni de tingi chadi yore yeta patu me ba yorte zoni de tingi chadi yore deyang zoni tobel tawa tegi nyumu musu nyangende zoni tobel tawa di enbe chik shitib nyimbo ndoyade chanchuki semgi captain koi 자기 시드기 님보 누구의 인상 아니 다 즉 심게다니 내가 타도 상기 고방 어디 두야라 디니다 메드미르고 때도 샤리야 디인두가라 아니 제 넘버 상기 비중기 동일도 도벨 타와라 자바시 장주기 셈로서베 저비차들라 야쳐와 세 어디도 수진이 즉 잡기 니교고니 다 람 냠는 지야시까지 시요리스.
So attaining this kind of what we can say genuine happiness, and not we are here not talking about happiness which is merely a kind of cessation of suffering. For that, we are talking, although there are many different techniques and paths and ways to attain that, but two main, most important point is what we call method and wisdom. Wisdom being, wisdom realizing emptiness, which is the which kind of hurts directly or contradicts directly the ignorance of not knowing. And on top of that wisdom, when it is accompanied by altruistic or bodhicitta, then it can even eliminate the most subtlest obscurations or afflictions, that is cognitive obscurations. So so these two in general becomes something inevitable to attain the highest happiness or freedom, and so therefore comes the common expression in Buddhism. On wisdom, we say, generally we kind of explain as profound wisdom, profound philosophy, and then on the method, say we usually use this expression of extensive, method and profound philosophy.
Wada tindi indugalata zavyengi ke lamde ani susigula kirungi sudu yo inza tati chik kompale viaga tondala jangure za lojong wada dusine susi semde ani be dewi chola khatang yala ani lode jangure se sungwa tati indigala ngaranzo janju semjongi damba so ani be jirum chungullo 다 바게 가서 호르든 남갑할 긴제베 로종 뜬dimita 제와 어떠도 차디와 다 시작이 내 첨부 두스레 대나는다 가서 돈낸 카드 leptiore 어떠 드린디마 주고스.
So both of the two that we mentioned, profound philosophy and extensive method or technique, they exist in such a way that they can be attainable by anybody. And for that purpose, we are studying this text that we have, mind training. And we can attain those qualifications through training our mind. And the text that we are studying, Mind Training Like the Rays of the Sun, was composed by this author, Horton Namkapel, and he was a immediate disciple of one of the great masters, of Tibetan Buddhism, Lama Tsongkhapa Rinpoche. And in the text we are talking about the practice of giving and taking, Tonglin.
Oda dindi digala ton ta kesangamani chinrida Tonglin ni ki pelmar jang sida. Oda Tonglin ni pelmar jang digala tangpo nijimi patantu tone ani lembi mi batachi. Ngone ninji sedigala kandish ani pe 카지기 심전기 지시 레다 녀모에 쟁어도 여봐 대시도 아니페 누가 메타 메바지 저타 메바지 다 누가 빠도 메바 남라망고 아니페 된지지 여와대야 뭐다 저지 뒤인데 누가 때라 전대길로 아니페 데 또나 찌마로 냠바데 다 니제스네 된지지 뭔지 찍고 가래 어다 된데베 룽알라 켐데 길로시 아니베 셀던이 미남 장제 아니 가게비 심전리베 룽알디 아랑킬레 도스치네 레네 아니베 우 롱게 토네 우 담보 추우 파게 달부 제르 못hen제 아니 때dengem도 가게비 심전이 룽알디 미베 도스 둥알데 렘미 바지 아니 우드파 던디갈라 아니 참미 바 짠도 더니 와다랑게 가게비 심전 게 둥알 렘베 텔레드니 개와지 요래 대마인 바랑게 아니 베 뒤숨도 잡에 개자 아니 베 둥아 이숨기 잡에 개자 와다 개베자와 누 언제도 제바 아니 베 바기 가게비 심전라 ताने तिंडी दुंगा न्योंदने अनि तेजा देवातन टेंसुन्या पते कोचो संत समताने उते यहां पे हारबाचे द मारबाचे तेने माइन बाचे उजामो ताबुचेने दु सेने 장고리 소와다티 숭도아 데인두갈라 베제네 유두갈라 돈레 니나니 돈미 바다 물레셰 렘메미 바다 주구시기 가르티 아니 라메 숭균라 렘메미 바다 당보지 돈미 바다 에네베 도스체바이 제고리 스데 여름부지다 윤진나 바니다 와다 덴데기 숭도아 와다 데인두갈라 즉 오니 도스체니 라메 숭균데 시우진네 미부 잘거래 아니 기시 양치니 아니 베 베지나 바기 숭용두갈라 코 라메 담가티 라마테니 고고 인자 체둥아도 도스체니 아니 베 베지나 도스치네 거베레 와다 티주 고바요 인장고 디차디어 와다 티 도스치네 와다 베제는 데니질라도 돼 간디지나 섬데 도바리야 말이지 라면 중균리 아니 바기나 gemgurmuji pechadene titi kaptula mangbu tinang do oda tesu nyingi na ani rachoya jiyoresi.
As we mentioned before, we are on the section, the practice of giving and taking, Tonglen practice, and in the text we find, these two practice doing kind of simultaneously. Exhaling and inhaling, and when we do that, as we mentioned before in the earlier teaching, in taking, practice of taking, we use skill of compassionate mind, using your understanding or skill of compassion, understanding that as long as sentient beings are under the power of karmic action and afflictions, they are bound to suffer, no matter what kind of status or situation right now they are in. And so you generate a strong feeling, desire that may all sentient beings be free from, all kinds of suffering, and generate this strong desire, interest, dedication mentally, and then you kind of, visualize taking suffering, problems, illness of others, and as we find in the text in the last teaching, doing this practice, using a breathing, these two should be made to right on the breath. So you visualize, but visualizations is used sort of as mentioned here, riding on this breathing, exhaling and inhaling. So when you inhale, you visualize taking of sufferings of others, and then you exhale, you visualize the practice of giving by using a skill of loving kindness or love, that giving whatever positive qualities that you possess, wealth, possessions, positive activities, the roots of positive merits that you have, kind of giving to others, and then visualizing that they have attained happiness and joy from your giving, and through that they kind of you take a rejoice in what you did. And while doing this, obviously you are physically you are doing breathing, exhaling and inhaling, and both inhaling and exhaling, when kind of using this visualization, the process should be very smooth, kind of a smooth, quiet, gradual process. And as we mentioned earlier, in the text we find, when we look at the sequence of these two practice of giving comes first, and then taking second. But in the tradition of oral teachings by teachers, in the oral tradition, they always first teach about taking, and then giving, and so such as teachings by His Holiness and his two teachers. Otherwise, you might have kind of sometimes doubt that in the text there's a one sequence, and then in the oral tradition there's a different kind of, it was reverse. But there are reason for that, and one reason here might be in order to to understand completely about mind training, it is important to listen to one's spiritual teacher, because in oral tradition there is a certain ways that are not actually exposed, or it's revealed in the text, and so therefore you shouldn't have this kind of suspicion or question that this is right because it is said in the text, teachings. There could be, as we mentioned before, oral tradition, it's a little different from how it is mentioned in the text. And so more about this you can surely listen to different teachings by His Holiness.
Menga seade lami sungyule tene kogwa insa menga chiba menga sidikala inji minji lami sungyun koral tene kogwa ya wata ti jiksungdo menga seade ta kesantini malona tonle ni jangwe che na as rangi lung chil ne gone roye che lui lonje disum geza 남카 타캡기 심전 탐질라 땅웨이스 대다 탐제 자바미베 대와 터두들 덴버 삼신 세 송도아 보다 자바미베 세야데 자지자메기 던데 개침보리 뉴모베 자바데 제마체스 치크레 자바구둔 데마네고네 자바세 치리 도지 도메고네 자지자메 체 니리 다디 조 뇽모베 자바데 제마치제나 단다가랑조 뇽모바데 제제인데 자메 용에 요 마르티 마움바나 아니 통람 랑귤레 케마타투 자메까지 당부 랑귤레 기거래 이 인도가 디 가가 딱 대화시나 단데 가랑조 동안 가린기 대화사 말 때디디 뇽몽 파기 단지 머리 빠빠고니 아니베 원인 집어고니 아니베 딜라페 직 대화지 덴두가라 다 직 수수 연구에나 에 jet 메바지 jet 마시베스는데 다든지 직 덴덴 연구하래 대화 빠도 메바지 어때 딘디기 인디가라 사amen기 대화시디 뉴몽 때민 점배고니 다 파기 대화 중요거나 자메기 대화 세치고래 단다 나랑서 자제 게대화지 대지 공도 주주제 룽랑 가린기 대화질라 다 대화 문바 참라마서 대화 문에 말 돼요 말이 띵주가라 자제기 대화다 코르베나라 대화 자제 게벨리기 대화 인자 룽랑 가린기는 대화 문바 참마서 대화 뉴멘기 대화 차요 말 왔다 들이 이거라 단단히 뇽규도 들어가서 통이 떠마다 자메기 대화 뇽고 말했지 미바데 단단히 두스체네 삼라탄 장 두스체나 펜도 용거 선함 살고 디펜 어디 두스체니 오바제 고레스
So oral instruction are considered as instruction that can be received only through from teachers' speech. So there are these kind of instructions which we won't find in the just reading a book or text. Continue with the reading. If you have a textbook, it's on page 78. The beginning of the text. When you have acquired some training in the preceding process, as you exhale, imagine that you are giving your body, possessions, and virtues of the three times to all sentient beings under the sky, and that they thereby obtain ultimate and uncontaminated bliss. So here talks about the practice of giving and taking. So when kind of giving through exhaling, visualization, it talks about how you visualize. Exhale, imagine giving your body, possessions, virtues of all three times to all sentient beings, and thereby obtain ultimate and uncontaminated bliss. So we do find this mention often, contaminated and uncontaminated. Contaminated has a different kind of interpretations. Contamination of or by afflictions or delusions, or based on conceptual and non-conceptual thoughts. Here it mainly refers to the contaminated by afflictions or defilements. Then when can one attain uncontaminated bliss or happiness or joy? when practitioners attain from five path, a path of seeing, when they attain the first, when they attain path of seeing, the first experience of that moment is, it's kind of immense joy and pleasure, and there is no kind of verbal description of that kind of blissfulness or pleasure, and that kind of immense joy or pleasure or happiness is experienced because of complete cessation or complete elimination of all afflictions, and that's why it's called uncontaminated bliss, not contaminated by any kinds of negative mental thoughts, and as mentioned earlier, while in cyclic existence, the so-called happiness that we identify with or that we enjoy, as we mentioned before, it's merely kind of cessation of a suffering, and it's a merely kind of cessation or the process of transition. It's not actual kind of genuine happiness, and so here what we are trying to do is, although while still in the cyclic existence, we cannot attain and experience that kind of genuine, or uncontaminated bliss, but at least we can steady ahead of time and train our mind, and we can do that at this moment.
semjen ta jegi yukunjung dibudungals yukunjung lengingire daji kongdoshe leidang ti wangi jungwe nyumongdang ti wangi jungwe milwe le o ti tiche ti wangda dibudela dungal tamje rangi ning nangdu nangde esi teta tamje dungal malibadan rabar samu so wada jik megwato sasamo kombaje kores teltar komna lungsam juba jibe sem miyajin tenshi dal dembe top chewar gro se wada ji lungsam juba sidya ji karsana maranzo lung thome imbajido sema thomere wada ngagi nana lungde semgi jumbaja gore to to sindigala maranzo 장이나 답 즉 거기 원에 샘데 즉 거기 단대 애니베 이젠로겐지나 원에 텐시 텐텐텐 빼저 꼼발레주나 애니베 전시기 왕게 애니베 즉 샘라 가르소거래 민 미파 살와 살와 살청 ngārtan tenpa wata tendegi tenden yungo ware wata tegiti shivuji kechin bore indi indikala tenimbe tenshe enibe topdan tenpa maje par tanga so janguwa ten shivuji kechin bo chade ware wata te ina tingin la nge te tangbo de jingware hopare te niba jingware jingwalan chara ni sigi 생우도와 와다 디 용해게 튕긴 존재인데 뭐네 ngaranzu 가리나 만다 템바다 시징이 까투이나 시징이 잘하지 아니 딩인지 면죽지고 다 너바면 되긴지나 전신이 템바이나 랑기 둘람라 펜도요래 자와 간디지나 아니 노출주고 말해 템바데 시징이 양다바지 여이나 자왈라 누르미쇼야 빙기도와 어떻게 뭐네 첸디다 치마 핀제기 다 펜도 여인내긴 차래 전신이도 시부지 개침 버려 디인디가라 전주나라 템바다 시징이 zu르도 리우레를 송도와 그게 전부진다 zu르도 리우레를 빼 미수도네 송래 어떻게 개침 버려 덥쳐버린 기로스
As you inhale, you should imagine you are taking into your heart all the sufferings of every being in the three realms, as well as their causes, and that they are thereby completely freed from all misery and its causes. Practicing in this way, the mind and breath will flow in the same direction, so you will overcome distraction and strengthen mindfulness. So three realms, as you know, desire, form, and formless realm, and then the causes and the causes and their result refers to the true causes, the truth of origin, and the result of truth of origin of suffering. And here talks about translated as mind and breath flowing in the same direction. What it refers to is that both mind and breath 통매를 되게 싫어 가서 lundas 니가 토밤 통매 토주도 레규메들라고 하려고 그래.
오 도메다 룽 도메로와 고 도에 가서 시바다 때리기 토구마로와
룽라
시바다 찍바라이다 가바이나 무슨 뒤에나 배 때가 마음번 템방 아마 마음보지 땡용해야 도와 그래.
So breath and mind here both having the same kind of features of not getting sort of obstructed, and also in tantric or Vajrayana practices, it talks about breath or more the it's breath or air or sometimes wind is considered as a right for the mind. Mind use this air energy or wind energy or maybe breath energy as something to ride upon when travel. So
like wind horse.
롱다 도 고아잖아 되어서 슌사도 슌발로 되잖아.
슌바레다 롱기 샘기 슌바세 샘.
So in one way you can have that kind of sense. The wind or air or breath is kind of like a wind horse on which the mind rides and then kind of travel. So this kind of a practice, as mentioned here, it says so you will overcome destruction and strengthen mindfulness. Not only it's useful in kind of generating or accumulating spiritual kind of practices, but can be helpful even just at this moment to increase or strengthen the mindfulness. And this kind of practice is also helpful people with a poor kind of say maybe a poor memory, and they can train their mind, make mind not only kind of stable memory, but can also further strengthen the clarity of that kind of memory. And it talks about the importance of here the practice of mindfulness and introspection that we often hear in the practice of meditation. And in calm abiding meditation, two most obvious obstacle are the first one, as many of you know, is mental dullness or laziness, and then the other being mental agitation or excitement. And the antidote for these two that we apply in meditation are the introspection and mindfulness. So as mentioned before, these are not only something helpful in the long-term spiritual journey, but are helpful immediately at this moment to have a stable, good memory or mindfulness. And for that purpose, the importance and their kind of their importance we find in Shantideva's text guide to the Bodhisattva's way of life. This mindfulness and the introspective mind, introspection. They are two separate chapters for these two different mental factor or thought.
다 튠지갑라 덴레지 지기나 다 튠삼도 이자인다 다나 리거라서 때 리거 말이스 다 튠삼라 바게 섬다에 대 순고아레스 니바 제당 튠삼기 값기 냠렌니스 율숨 뜨숨 가자숨 세도다 로존토니 미치리디 율숨 시디갈라 율 게미길 롱마텐 숨레 와다 개와 메게와 시디갈라 되게 공도 이제 시게바 되지 롱마텐이 다 베나 개와 만den게 디바 만den게 아니 데리지 집아이나 자와칸디지나데 롱마텐데 와나 직 말아서 조세세 손리지 다 가와세 손리지 디스 되게 가리나다 주젠데기 롱마텐 계시게다 마찬가지요. 어떠도 수제네. 와다 율대 숨제. 율숨. 뒤숨. 개자숨 시디가라. 뚝숨 시디가라. 아니 다 율숨, 뚝숨. 뚝숨제나 도샤제나 디무숨데라. 아니 뚝숨 시고래. 다 나란도 뚝이 수수 소처 쳐고와. 수술라이는 배 나사진 소조 된지고 되니라 다 ndosha잖아 디무숭기 다 수수 ngonu 손로 동화지고 뚜터부 안에 배 잡침 붙여야 돼요 딘디 집 두숨 다 가자숨 ndosha메 봐 제다메 봐 디무메 봐숨데 왜왜 잡았숨 시고래 와다 딘디가라 곰볼루투기 우마른잖아 도샤제당 디무스 데킬레네 메고 텔레둥알 탐젠중스 도샤제당 디무메 데킬레네 요 텔레데와 탐젠중스 두스진이 타 제네 송고도와 와다디 시부게 첨버리겠어.
The next topic here, the practice to be followed in the periods after and in between meditation. So what we just mentioned before or seen in the text is the visualizations that must be done when you are in meditation, when you are in concentration. But then how can you do practice continuously even when you kind of finish your meditation or sitting on a cushion? So usually we call that post meditative period or aftermath. So to be the practice to be followed in the period after and in between meditation sessions. Concerning the three objects, three poisons and three virtues, the instructions to be followed in brief is to take these words to heart in all activities. Concerning the three objects refers to positive or virtuous. Second is non-positive or non-virtuous, and then third is neutral. Neutral refers to activities or actions that neither in the end becomes positive nor negative. So positive, negative, and neutral. Three poisons refers to desire and attachment and ignorance, because poison in the sense that when you engage or indulge in any of these three, it will end up in suffering or lower rebirth in kind of a rebirth system. And three virtues refers to actually the opposite of those three poisons: non-attachment or non-desire, and then non-hatred, and then non-ignorance. And so we find this mentioned in Nagarjuna's text. Ratnavali, Rinjin Tawasoimba. Precious garland, the Madhyamika precious garland. He talks that he mentioned out of desire, hatred, and ignorance comes all kinds of suffering, and out of non attachment, non hatred, non ignorance comes all positive activities and happiness.
This is almost
No, just
the Josh.
so we'll take a break here. She said.